Hello there, it's me, and I'm Okweku Watson, at Elective ICT, and today's topic is on types of computer networks too. Now, this type of computer networks will handle or will take care of the advantages and then the disadvantages we have in the computer networks that we treated in the previous video or previous tutorial, previous lessons. So in the previous lessons, we looked at the types of computer networks and their features. For this particular one, we are going to look at the advantages and the disadvantages of the types of computer networks that we treated in the previous video. Now, my email still remains quicklybatting38@gmail.com, and then my web address is animal.greysite.net. Without wasting much time, let's get right into today's tutorials. All right, so lesson quote. If you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you will make progress. Barack Obama said this. Now, I don't have to introduce Barack Obama. I don't have to talk about Barack Obama because everyone knows Barack Obama. So if you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you will make progress. And this is so true. And I think this is also self-explanatory. Because if you're going down the right path, if you're doing something, you know whatever you're doing is good, and you keep doing it, eventually, yes, that success that you want will come. You want 8 A's, and then you're learning, you're solving questions, you're learning. Eventually, when you sit down or when the time comes for you to write that particular exams, you know very well that you're going to get that 8 A's that you've always wanted. So yes, Barack Obama said that if you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you will make progress. Now, lesson objectives. So at the end of this lesson, you, the student, should be able to state and explain the advantages of the types of computer networks, state and explain the disadvantages of the types of computer networks. All right, so the first one is personal area network. So let's look at the advantages and personal area network. If we decide to use a personal area network, what are some of the advantages? So let's look at them. All right, one. So it is good for short range communication. So it means that if you want a network and then you are not really focused on having a long distance communication, you just want a communication to be within a particular area, then yes, your go-to is a personal area network. Don't forget that personal area network should be in a single building in your home where everything is connected, wired or wirelessly, and then having access to the things that you need. A very fine example is connecting your mobile phone to your Bluetooth device or your computer to a printer. So it is good for short range communication. That it does not require huge or extra space to set up. And I think this is self-explanatory, yes, because it is set up within a small area. And if you are doing this in a small area, you don't really need space plenty like that to do that because your gadgets or the devices involved are not even big to take up a whole space. So you do not require huge or extra space to set up. Then it can connect to many devices at a time, and that is the beauty of it. So you can connect to a lot of devices at a time should you decide to use a personal area network. Yeah, so you can have a lot of devices connected together where you are able to share files among these devices all at a time. Then it is portable and reliable. Don't forget that this is a small network. Okay, so it's a personal area network, making a very small network. And if this network is small, then it means that it is more portable. And if it is portable, it is reliable in a sense that it doesn't really want to fail. Okay, there's no downtime and those kind of things. Communication is always up. You get to print your files, you get to receive those exchange of files between your device and your computer, and those other things that you do. So making it portable and then reliable. Then it is easy to use and secure. Yes, because this is a network that don't have any outside people joining. It is only you and your devices connected together. So it is secure and it is easy to use. You don't need any extra knowledge to set up a personal area network. So it is easy to use because once you're connected, you're just using it. It's so easy. You don't need any manual to get through this. And it is secure because you don't have a lot of people using that particular network. So it is always secure and it is easy to use. So just gone by were the advantages of personal area network. Now let's look at the disadvantages of personal area network. Now, data transfer rate is slow. So when you're talking about data transfer rate, you're looking at how the speed it takes for communication. That's communication speed. Okay, so that is data transfer rate. And then data transfer rate tends to be very slow in personal area network. Then it covers a very short distance in communication. Yeah, so that is a disadvantage because it covers a very short distance in communication. It means that if you want something that can really extend, then you are looking at a different type of network. Because for personal area network, by design, by the name alone, has what? Short communication range. So if you want more than that, then personal area network is not your go-to. Then you need a different type of network. That it is vulnerable to interferences like radio signals. When it comes to transmission of data, or yeah, when it comes to transmission in itself in general, they are always vulnerable to radio signals. So transmission, no matter how you look at it, whether short or long, the radio signals worry a bit. And then for personal area network, because of the wireless nature of it, radio signals are always disturbing it, that particular network. It supports wired and then wireless. But when it comes to personal area network, using the wireless one is always the best and the easy to go with. And when it comes to wireless connections are always susceptible or vulnerable to radio signals, making personal area network also vulnerable to interferences like radio signals because people mainly use wireless connection when it comes to personal area network. All right, so now let's look at the advantages of local area network. The advantages of local area network. Now, when it comes to local area network, it is easy to manage and control local area network since it is limited geographically. Yeah, so local area network is limited geographically in a sense that don't forget a local area network, we are going a little above personal area network. Local area network is best for office environment or organization. Okay, so it is also best when it comes to reducing costs, where you don't have to necessarily buy printers for all the offices. You can get a few printers and then network them in order to share the printers amongst the offices. So Office A can print from this particular printer, Office B and C can share a particular printer. So you also reduce costs there. It is also good when it comes to sharing off-the-shelf or customized software. And it is also good when it comes to sharing files so that you avoid the sneaker net problem. So local area network in itself, yes, it's used in an office environment where all machines or computers are connected to a server so that files or resources could be shared among the departments that make up the organization. So in its sense, then advantages of local area network, one, we have it is easy to manage and control local area network since it is limited geographically. So because of where it is set up, because it doesn't cover a huge distance or a huge area or a large area, it is easy to control and manage it. Look, because of its geographical limitation, it is always easy to do something about it. When a fault arises or something, you can always quickly fix that. Although it's not always easy and straightforward like that, but if you're comparing it to other networks, then local area network is easy to manage and control. Then it is easy to share common resources like printers, scanners, hard disks among users in a local area network. Yes, it is easy because in a local area network, it makes good use of a powerful machine called a server. And then this server is connected to another device called a switch. And then this switch has other computers in the organization connected to it. It means that they pick information from the switch. It means that they pick information from the server. And because the server is connected to the switch, communication then happens among the computers that are connected to it. If this happens, it means that sharing resources in local area net becomes so easy. Right? With the printers, for instance, once you put the printer on a network by doing the configuration that has to be done, computers on that same network as the printer will be able to what? Print. So you can share a printer amongst three departments without having to buy a printer for each department. So local area network is very good when it comes to limiting costs with regards to the devices and then the gadgets that you will buy. So yes, it is easy to share common resources like printers, scanners, hard disks, and other things in a local area network. Then it is easy to share off-the-shelf or customized software applications among users in a local area network. And this I have already mentioned. Now, when you talk about off-the-shelf software, so a software can be off-the-shelf or it can be customized or bespoke. Now, when you talk about off-the-shelf software, it means that it's a software that is designed for general use or for the general public. So the software is available on the market. If you think that the software meets your demands, it meets your needs, you buy the software and then you use it. So off-the-shelf software is not customized. Off-the-shelf software is not made with a particular user or an organization in mind. It is made for the general public. So if you feel like that software meets your needs and you want it, then you see the developer of that particular software and then you pay and get the software. Now, when you talk about customized software, it means that you went to see a software engineer, a software developer, and then you told the software developer or engineer that this is the software that you want. So you give the person your specifications and the person develop the software to meet that specification. If this is done for you, then it means that it is what a customized software. So when it comes to local area network, it is easy to share off the shelf or customized software applications among users in a local area network. Now, how is this possible? So when it comes to software, okay, let's say that it's an educational institution and then you're running an educational software. Let's again assume that this software is what customized. It means that we met a software engineer and then told the software engineer the type of software that we want, and then they went ahead to develop that particular software for us. Yeah, so now this software has been given to the organization. Training and other things have been done. Let's say that we have 300 computers in that organization. What it means is that this software has to be installed on all the 300 machines. Now, close your eyes and imagine the kind of work this is. You see how huge and difficult, complex this is. Now, with a local area network, it means that that software will be installed on the server. And because all these computers are connected to the switch through, like the server is also connected to the switch. So because all these computers are connected to the switch, feeding information from the switch to the other computers that we have, it will be so easy for all those connected in using that particular network to be able to use that software so that you don't have to necessarily install the software individually on all the 300 machines. So yes, when it comes to local area network, it is very easy to share software like customized software or off-the-shelf software. Now, communication on a local area network is easy and fast as there are Ethernet cables that support varied data transfer rate from 10 over 100 Mbps through to 10 GPS from Cat5 to Cat7 Ethernet cables. So Mbps is megabit per second, and then Gbps is gigabits per second. Now, what we are saying is that communication on local area network is easy, meaning data rate, the rate at which a signal or a resource will move from the sender's device to the recipient device is what easy or is fast. And then this is so because of the cables that are involved. Now, cables, we have Cat5, Cat7 cables, Cat8, and all that. So it means that these cables allows for higher bandwidth. And then the higher the bandwidth, the faster the communication. So if it allows for higher bandwidth, it means that resources can move, huge or large resources can move from the sender's device to the recipient device within what? For every second. That is the meaning. So there is higher data transfer rate because of the cables that are allowed or that are used in local area network. And so, yes, the next one is the disadvantages of local area network. Now, one disadvantage is that local area network is limited in size since it covers a small geographical area. Yeah, so there's always that limitation. It doesn't cover a whole like city or town. No, it always has what limitation in terms of coverage. So that makes it what that in itself is a disadvantage. It means that if you want that, you have to have a lot of multiple local area network which when put together, you are looking at what? A different type of network. The initial setup cost of installing local area network is high because you need to purchase hardware devices, Ethernet cables, and software applications. And this is true, yes, because I've been part of such an installation, and I can tell you for a fact that this is true. All right, so initial setup cost of installing local area network is high, is very high. Okay, and it is initial setup cost because once it is done, you are only left to pay, what you are left to pay is maintenance costs, and maintenance costs sometimes, not sometimes, it's always better than the initial setup. Because with the initial setup, you are buying all the devices, you are buying everything that a network engineer needs to install the network. So everything, plus the network engineer, the workers and everything, you pay them as well. So initial setup cost is very high when it comes to local area network, when you're setting up local area network. And it's not even local area network alone. For any network that you want to build, always you have the initial setup cost to be high because of the gadgets or the devices that you have to purchase, the people that you have to hire, pay them, and those kind of things. So when it comes to setting up a whole network, an entire network for an organization, always the initial setup cost is high. That it is difficult to set up and maintain local area network as it requires skilled technicians and network administrators. Yeah, so when it comes to also again designing and implementing a network, again, you need skilled men to do this, right? You can't just pick anybody from the street to have this done for you because a lot can go wrong if you don't get the technical men, if you don't get the technical people to handle some of these things. A lot could go wrong. So you need the technical people to have this done. And I mean, people with this technical knowledge or technical know-how are like they're not maining in the system. We don't have a lot of them in the system. And even to get a good person, a certified person to actually do this for you, it's not an easy thing in itself, right? So it becomes difficult to set up and maintain because you need these skilled technicians and network administrators. And a lot of these people are also contract workers, meaning that they are not ready to stay with the organization. All that they want to do is to come, install the thing, and then go away. As and when there is a problem, you call them again, they come in, they charge you, and then they fix the problem. So this in itself also makes it was difficult and a huge disadvantage. Then all users are affected in a typical server-based local area network if the server develops some fault. And this is so true. Yeah, so in a typical server-based local area network where everything goes through the server, right? So there's a local area network that has some part of the work not going through the server. But with a typical server-based local area network, where you have everything going through the server, from software to printers, to like every little thing goes through to the server, it's challenging because it means that once the server is down, that particular network is also was down. Once the server goes off, it means that nobody, users on that network cannot do anything. Everything also goes off. So in a typical server-based local area network, it is very, very, very serious once the server goes off or the server has fault. So if it will take 2 weeks for the server to come back online, it means that for that 2 weeks, no work, nothing will be done, unless of course there is a backup server or there is a backup somewhere that the organization can fall back on. Then it is easy to spread malware in a local area network. Yes, it is easy to spread malware in a local area network. Don't forget that all the computers are connected and then communication is being done. So a computer that is not properly protected can have malware being given to it. Even outsiders can tap into that network and then spread the malware. So this also becomes very possible because two computers can also communicate though they're on the same network. And if you're not careful, they can spread the malware too. Sometimes knowingly or unknowingly it happens. Some of these things happen. So it's easy to spread malware in a network in an environment where all computers are networked and then they are communicating with one another or each other. All right, so the next one is the metropolitan area network. Now, for metropolitan area network, don't forget that we are looking at a network that covers or that spans across an entire town or city. And for a metropolitan area network to happen, it means that there are several local area networks that spans across an entire city or town to give us the metropolitan area network. And now we are going to look at the advantages of metropolitan area network. Now, it is extremely efficient and provides fast communication through high-speed transmission media like fiber optic cables. Yeah, you see, so this network is going to span across an entire town or city. So the cables that are usually used are the fiber optic cable, and the fiber optic cables are built in such a way that it has the ability to withstand this electromagnetic interferences, and then it also has the ability to withstand other interferences, other external interferences, because it goes or travels in light pulses. So fiber optic cables are very fast, they are robust, and then they work perfectly fine. So if fiber optic cables are going to be used in a metropolitan area network, then it means that that network will be robust, that network will be efficient, and then there'll be faster communication. Then it provides a good backbone for large networks and provides greater access to wide area network. Yes, because of the cable alone and because of how it is built, so you have small local area network at places uh, put together to give it a metropolitan area network. And that in itself also gives access to a wide area network, because for a wide area network to happen, you need a lot of several metropolitan area network and local area network to get to a wide area network, because a wide area network is a network that covers an entire country. So to get a wide area network, there should be first a local area network or a multiple metropolitan area network to get you a wide area network. Then the dual bars used in metropolitan area network help the transmission of data in both directions simultaneously. Now, let me let you know that you see, when it comes to bars, using like a bus channel, all right, or using a transmission channel. So the bus is just a transmission channel, like a channel, a cable through which signals pass. Now, when it comes to a single bus, okay, it means that it's a cable that allows communication in only one direction. So it means that a sender can only send and a receiver cannot what reply. So a dual bus here means that you are using what, two separate or different communication channels, where there is one for the sender to access the central device, which is the switch, and there is one cable that allows the switch to communicate back to the sender. So that's the meaning of what a dual bus used in metropolitan area network. So once there is this type of architecture or configuration or setup, it helps in what, transmission of data in both directions, which is also known as what, bi-directional. So that data does not go in only one direction, which is simplex. But in this case, we have what, full duplex, because data goes in both directions. That it serves many cities and towns, and this makes it possible to connect large areas at a relatively low cost. Now, yes, so metropolitan in itself connects a lot of what? It connects an entire city or connects an entire town. So if this is the aim of metropolitan area network, then yes, of course, it makes it possible to connect large areas at a relative what, low cost, as against having a local area network different, another local area separately, another local area separately. Because when you put all of these local area network together, that gives us a metropolitan area network, and that can be done at relatively low. All right, now let's look at the disadvantages of metropolitan area network. Now, it is difficult to make the system secure from hackers, of course, yes. It is very difficult because this time around, it is not only in a small building or an organization, but in a whole city or an entire town. And then if you are connecting an entire town or an entire city, you can tell how difficult it then becomes to secure the system from hackers. Not that it's not possible, it is highly possible. It has been done, it is being done, but it is difficult because the larger the coverage or the wider the coverage, the difficulty it is for the systems to be secured from bad people. But yes, it's just something that has been done and is being done, but there is a complexity. Now, it requires more cables to establish a connection from one place to the other. And I think this is self-explanatory because it's a whole city, it's a whole town. And how else are you going to connect a whole town if you're not using a lot of cables? Of course, there is a wireless option, but wireless also comes with its own disadvantages. And then when we get to transmission media, we'll talk about the wireless and then the wired one. So, of course, like there's always going to be laying of cables and a lot of cables. A lot of cables are always involved when it comes to connecting an entire city or an entire town. Then it requires expertise to set up, install, and manage, of course. I mean, this is not in doubt because this work is not something that you're going to call just a layman or any simple man to do that. I mean, you're connecting an entire city and connecting an entire town. So you need all the engineers that you can get, the telecommunication engineers, the network engineers, the network administrators, the programmers, or the software engineer. You need all the people that you can get to ensure that this work is successfully done. So yes, and like I said, I mean, getting the expertise nowadays is not an easy thing. So that in itself is what a disadvantage. It is very costly as compared to local area network. Of course, it is because it is greater than local area network. In fact, it is a lot of multiple local area network connected together that gives us the metropolitan area network. So yes, it is costly as compared to local area network. Then advantages of wide area network. Now, with wide area network, you're looking at a network that spans across an entire country, okay, an entire globe. And I've made a point that the internet is the best example when it comes to wide area network. It's the biggest wide area network. But you have wide area network that covers an entire country. Now, an entire country decides to have an internal network where the people in the country can share their files and all that, then that is what a wide area network. Once we decide to connect to the outside world, then it means you're connecting to the internet, which is a different thing altogether. So one advantage is that it covers a large geographical area. It's an entire country, so that covers a large geographical area, and it helps everybody. It means that you're not worried. Okay, when it comes to local area network and metropolitan area network, once you leave the jurisdiction where the network is, you can't do any other thing. Do you get it? So the wide area network helps us because it doesn't matter where you are. Anywhere you are within the country, you can have access to files, communication, and other things. So that helps us a lot. Then, like local area network, it allows sharing of resources and software applications among users. And then this has already been explained. In a wide area network, users have latest files because software files are shared among all users. Yes, so everybody's connected, and because it's a general thing, updating and then making sure that we always have the latest files and those kind of things are important, and that is always done to avoid people from having old files and complicating issues and those kind of things. So the central device the server that supports this wide area network is ensure that it's always up to date, 24/7 maintenance and those kind of things, so that everybody is in sync with respect to with respect to the latest files and software and those kind of things. Data and information are stored on a centralized server, making it accessible across the globe. Now, disadvantages of wide area network. It needs a good firewall to restrict outsiders from entering and disrupting the network. Yes, I mean, you see, where good people exist, there are bad people as well. So, in as much as yes, this is being done to ensure that the entire country, people are able to communicate, people are able to share files, people are able to do at least basic things. You have bad people who would also want to make sure that this does not happen in out of service attack and other things. So yeah, so if you don't have a good security system in place, then you have people who try to bring the network down, who try to compromise, who try to sabotage the network and those kind of things. So you need a good firewall, and not only that, you need a good security system to ensure that wide area network stays up 24/7. Now, it is expensive to set up a one. Of course, it is covering an entire country. So, yes, it was very expensive. It is complicated. This is something that is not in doubt at all. Once set up, maintaining a network is a full-time job which requires network administrators and technicians to be employed. Not only does it require them, but they have to be on the alert 24/7 because the slightest problem can cause the whole country to be down, and that is so serious. So they have to be on a full alert, red alert, always ready. to solve the slightest problem, and that in itself is a job. It means that you don't have any other life. You're always ready for something, and that is not an easy thing. So yes, security is a real issue when many different people have the ability to use information from other computers. Protection against hackers and viruses adds more complexity and expenses, and I think this is straightforward. I don't have to touch on this. All right, so we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Let's try the hand on the following. State four advantages of the following: personal area network, wide area network, local area network. Then state three disadvantages of the following: metropolitan area network, wide area network, and then local area network. Thanks for watching. Next tutorials will be on network topology. Subscribe and keep the channel active. Until then, it's bye for now.